Assalamualaikum. Peace be unto you. I'm Nona, and I'm going to share with you about how Muslims pray. Okay, about prayer in Islam. Okay, before I start, I want to explain about terminology. When we say prayer in Arabic, actually, the proper term is salah. So, the call to prayer, hayya ala salah. Okay, so the word salah come to prayer. Okay, when Muslims pray, they pray only in Arabic language. Okay, so then we have what is called dua or supplication. At the end of the prayer, once we are done with our performing the salah, we can make dua or supplication, and this is when one can use any language, and obviously most people will use their mother tongue language. So there is a difference between prayer and supplication. Okay, prayer will always must be in Arabic language, regardless of one's ethnic background. A Muslim must say his or her prayers in Arabic, whereas the supplications can be done in any language. Okay, the next, okay, so when Muslims pray, our communication with God is direct. There is no intermediary, because in Islam there is no such thing as a priesthood system. Okay, so we can pray alone or we can pray in congregation. So normally at the mosque or the masjid, people pray in congregation. So the imam, who is a man, will lead the prayer. Okay, so he leads the prayer. He only leads the prayer because he's not a priest. So the imam will stand in front, and then the men will followed by the men, and then the women are either in the back rows or in the balcony or in a separate section, depending on the design of the mosque. Okay, why do we separate men and women? That's because when we pray in congregation, we stand shoulder to shoulder, so there is contact. So you can just imagine, right? If you are going to say your prayers and you are rubbing shoulders with someone of the opposite sex, who is a stranger, so that's a no-no, right? Okay, the other thing is the movements of prayer. We stand, we bow, we prostrate. Okay, so I will show you in a short while how the movements of the prayer go. But yeah, often I will ask the tourists who visit the mosque, like especially the guys, right? So now that you know the way how we pray, do you think it's better for me to be in front of you or at the back? So everybody says that I should be at the back, so that the women can see the men, but not the other way around. So it's just really common modesty. All right, so we can pray anywhere. It's not necessarily in a mosque. We can pray at home. We can pray at the office or any place that is clean. Okay, so from my experience, when I was traveling, I've prayed before in a park on the grass, and in a church. When I was in New York, we got permission to use the office in the church. By the way, yeah, I forgot a point when I mentioned about the imam. Another question that people will normally ask is that can a woman become imam? The answer is yes, if the group is all women. So that's when a woman can lead the prayer. Okay, so then the next point is that when we pray, we face the Qibla, which is the direction of prayer that is towards Mecca in Saudi Arabia. So no matter where one is, whether you're in Japan or Europe, when a Muslim prays, he or she needs to face Mecca. Okay, it is a point of reference, and it symbolizes unity. Right, when I explain to the tourists, we pray 5 times a day. Normally they will go like, wow, how can you do that? That's too difficult. How can you pray 5 times a day? Actually, our prayer doesn't take that long. It is between 5 to 10 minutes. So in Malaysia, because our climate is tropical, so the prayer times do not change that much. So the first prayer is early in the morning before sunrise, and that's a short prayer. It's only 2 cycles. I will demonstrate, okay, the movements of the prayer and what I mean by 1 cycle or 1 unit. So then the next prayer is about lunchtime, 1:30 or so, and that's 4 cycles. Okay, oftentimes tourists will ask me, I will tell tourists that we pray 5 times a day, and they will go like, wow, that's too many times, that's difficult, how can you do that? But actually our prayer doesn't take that long. It's about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so the 5 daily prayers, the first prayer is before sunrise, about 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's only 2 cycles. I will explain to you what I mean by 1 cycle or 1 unit. Okay, then the second prayer is about lunchtime, 1:30, and that's 4 cycles. The third prayer is about tea time, about 4:30, and that's 4 cycles. Then we pray again at sunset, that is 3 cycles. And finally, at about 8:45, that's 4 cycles. So the prayer time in Malaysia doesn't change that much because we are a tropical climate. Alright, so now I will demonstrate the movements, the prayer movements, and I'll explain later. Okay, this is the movements of the prayer. First we stand, and when we stand, this is when we recite the opening chapter or the Al-Fatiha. Okay, we can also after that recite a short chapter from the Quran, but that's optional. Okay, once we are done, we bow. Okay, then we straighten up, stand up. Alright, now we go down in prostration. Then we sit. And then prostrate again. And then we stand. Okay, so this is one whole cycle, okay, that what we call 1 cycle or 1 unit. Okay, you saw the prayer movements, right? So now that is 1 cycle. So each time when we stand up, we recite the opening chapter, because many people ask what is it that we say when we pray. It is the opening chapter or the Al-Fatiha in the Quran. Okay, so I will show you the chapter. Okay, can you see? This is the opening chapter of Fatiha. Okay, let me read the translation. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Praise be to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds. Most gracious, most merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment. Thee do we worship, and thine aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath and who go not astray. So this is the opening chapter that we recite a few times. Like for example, for the morning prayer, because it's 2 cycles, we repeat it twice. For the afternoon prayer, where it is 4 cycles, so we repeat it 4 times. Each time when we stand up, we recite this prayer in Arabic. Okay, so actually this opening chapter is similar to the Lord's Prayer in Christianity, because Islam, Christianity and Judaism share the same roots, but that's a different topic. Anyway, I hope I've managed to shed some light on how we pray. And I would like to conclude with a verse in the Quran that is from chapter 2, verse 186. And when my servants ask you, O Muhammad, concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. So let them respond to me by obedience and believe in me, that they may be rightly guided. Okay, I thank you all for listening. Stay home, stay safe. Peace be unto you. Assalamualaikum.